Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Old School Movie Review. Old School Movie Review. Okay, that's the name of the show, OSMR. That's what OSMR stands for, Old School Movie Review. Either I'm reviewing old school movies or you're seeing I'm reviewing something new from the perspective of an old fart. Because I'm 34 years old. I know it's so freaking old. But I'm young enough to where I still am very enthusiastic about movies and TV and video games and things. Anyway, enough of that. We're talking about Star Trek Discovery today. This is a show that I had kind of written off for the past 2 years or however long it's existed. I saw some screenshots of basically the first scene in the episode where Michael Burnham and Giorgio are in some kind of desert setting dressed as if they're looks like they're on the fucking planet Jakku. And I was like, this is bullshit. They are ripping off Star Wars. They're just trying to do what Star Wars is doing. I'm not even going to pay attention to this show. It's not going to be anything like Next Generation or anything like Voyager, the two shows that I've watched the entirety of and enjoyed. So I had written this entire show off. Let me light this thing. We'll get really talking about this show. So, my mom recently told me that we have subscribed to CBS All Access on our Amazon Prime, which, yeah, HBO last month. This month we're getting CBS. I mean, I think we're paying over $50 for streaming services. Well, it's not quite true because I share with my brother, who also lives with me, of course. So, um, throughout, I've got Netflix, I've got access to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, HBO through Amazon Prime, and now CBS All Access through Amazon Prime. So, yeah, I'm just bragging because I'm a douchebag and I'm a tool. Uh, I'm sorry if you can't afford all of these streaming services, but I mean, almost 80% of my days are filled up with watching TV shows, so I'm a professional streamer. I'm a professional TV watcher, and that's why I'm making YouTube videos. Anyway, back to Star Trek Discovery. I watched the first few episodes, and I was like, okay, this is back during before the old Star Trek show, before the Klingon War. I've seen Next Generation, and I've seen Voyager, and I've seen Season 1 of Deep Space Nine, and I've seen Episode 1 of Star Trek, the original Star Trek. But other than that, I've not seen anything. And I've seen all three of the new Star Trek movies, the J.J. Abrams ones. Um, and when I was younger, I did see all the, like, Star Trek, Voyage Home, and Search for Spock, but I don't have any memory of them. So anyway, that's as far as my Star Trek knowledge goes. I really loved Next Generation. Voyager was kind of like the anti-Next Generation, where it turned Next Generation on its head. Had two factions kind of vying for power and vying for dominance within the same ship, and their voyage of trying to get home and being lost. Anyway, Discovery is about the beginning of the Klingon War. And the first three episodes, the spoilers ahead. I can't talk about the show without saying a few spoilers. So, you meet up with Michael Burnham, who is not a man, a woman. She was raised by a Klingon, or not a Klingon, a Vulcan. So she was raised with all this logic and shit in her, and she's like a great engineer. And she was Captain Giorgio's number one. She had three little thingies on her chest. That's what I love watching about Star Trek is like counting the little thingies on a person's chest to see what rank they are, you know? And that's the one thing that drove me nuts about Deep Space Nine was that the captain only had three little thingies. He didn't have four. And if someone in the comments could explain to me why the captain in Deep Space Nine only has three little thingies and not four like a captain, like every other captain on every other ship, please let me know. Because this is driving me nuts, and that's one of the petty reasons I haven't watched Deep Space Nine. Anyway, back to Star Trek Discovery. I haven't really said anything about the show, except that its main character is an African American woman, female, raised by a particular Vulcan. What is the name of the Vulcan? Sarek, I want to say. If you know that name, then maybe you know a little bit more about the show than you think, if you haven't seen it yet. Anyway, she is soon through just poor luck, botches an engagement with Klingons. Klingons that, well, she doesn't botch, she tries to save. I mean, in her defense, it really couldn't have gone any better than it did. If they had, we'll never know what would have happened if they would have listened to her and fired upon the Klingons immediately as an act of, instead of retaliating on whatever the Klingons were about to do. I'm talking about the show like you've seen it, and I should talk about it as if you haven't seen it, so I'll just say that if you're worried about this show being too much like Star Wars, the new Star Wars, don't. After the first 3 or 4 episodes, it starts to really feel like the old Star Trek, at least to me, and I've already told you about my experience with Star Trek. Big fan of Next Generation and Voyager. So, by episode 4, there is a status quo set, and yet, in every episode, the status quo does change. That's what I like about this show, and that's what I think people should really give the show a chance, because, yes, it does do the traditional episodic, self-contained episode stories that Star Trek has done in the past. I mean, when I think of Star Trek, of course, in Voyager, there was always a new way to get home, and then they'd always fail at the end until the end of the series when they finally do get home. But that was the premise of the show, was them trying to get home, and in each episode they failed. They didn't, or maybe they got a little bit closer, but every episode was about them trying to get home, or the relations between the Maquis and the Federation. And so they were always coming upon something in space that puzzled them, and so it was episodic. And not too many episodes progressed until later seasons, where they started making progress with Barclay and all that. Anyway, the Discovery gets into those episodic episodes, but at the same time, they do progress the overarching story, and they do progress the characters. I mean, there is character progression within this show, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but in Next Generation, the characters pretty much stay the same. It was always the characters working as a team to overcome some kind of obstacle in space, and they were always, like, they came upon the Borg, and they had to deal with the Borg and all that. And every episode was different. They came upon Q a bunch of times, and they had to deal with Q's hijinks. Well, the crew of Star Trek Discovery, or of the USS Discovery, come upon problems, and a lot of it deals with the Klingons, but not everything deals with the Klingons. So give the show a chance. If you like Star Trek in any incarnation, give it a chance. I know they've kind of hidden it behind a lock. You have to subscribe to CBS All Access in order to view this show, which is different than the past. I mean, you could always just watch it for free on CBS in the past, but it's not on the regular TV channel. You have to pay for this CBS All Access, which, I mean, right now, as it stands in 2019, CBS All Access is kind of a joke, unless you just love CBS shows. It's the only way you can watch Star Trek Discovery, so you have to use it. And you have to pay to watch it. Pay more than whatever you're paying now to watch any other show. So there is that. But I don't even know what I'm paying right now, but I've got a plan where I have to watch commercials during the show, which I'm watching commercials for the first time in like 12 years. I mean, I've been streaming shit off Netflix, and if I'm not streaming, I'm illegally downloading things off of, the internet, and I'm watching things without commercials. And now I am watching commercials for the first time in so long. But I don't mind because, I mean, it. At first, it was kind of like, oh wow, commercials. These are like, this is new to me. I mean, it's old school, but at the same time, I haven't watched commercials in so long, so it was kind of like a new experience. I'm like, oh, these little mini 15-second stories, advertisements for, oh, there's something I might be interested in. Oh, they're advertising a show on the CBS All Access. I might actually want to watch that show based on this advertisement. So, call me a dummy, but I don't mind the commercials. I mean, they're no more than 90 seconds, and they get a little countdown timer telling you exactly when the commercials are going to be done, which is not how it worked on old television. You had no idea when the commercials were going to be done. It could be 3 minutes, it could be 5 minutes worth of commercials. You had no fucking idea when the show was going to come back on. But now you do. We're in the future, and that's just an old school perspective from old school movie review. If I haven't convinced you to watch this show yet, I don't think I'm going to. Just know that there are a lot of episodes that I consider true Star Trek episodes. Just get past the first 2 or 3 episodes of introduction. It introduces all the characters. I mean, I was not a fan of the first couple episodes of Voyager. I don't even remember them because I think I skipped them. But I mean, once you get into the meat of the show, where they're doing the episodic content, but at the same time doing new things, doing brand new things that have never been in Star Trek before. And I don't think they're doing things that'll never be in Star Wars. I could probably guarantee you that. They're doing things that HBO is doing. I'll just say that. And I'm going to leave you with that. Check out Star Trek Discovery. Give it a chance. I haven't even finished the first season yet, but I'm already very enthusiastic about it. So give it a chance. Old School Movie Review, Major Metroid, Sir Steven, signing out. Check it out.